It was really well served. Look at these beautiful lefts running down this reef here. Yeah, it's been a great performance. Came out early, focused. Snapping, there's the last ride as well. Improves on the 383 of 4.2. So good judging and great surfing.
Yeah, really setting herself up well here. The nice thing for, a lot of these surfers from those more eastern, not even Eastern European nations, but the ones that aren't on the Atlantic coastline, specifically, France, Spain, Portugal, that have that access to big open ocean swells. They're so close to those countries that they can hop on a plane, they can take a train ride and be there so quickly to be able to spend a weekend surfing. That's
the wonderful thing, isn't it, about Europe? There's other kids go across the border to another country with another language.
And from there, for surfers out of the Netherlands, out of Germany, out of Switzerland, they have access to so many world-class waves along the coastline of France, Spain, and Portugal that whatever the conditions are they need to be training for an upcoming event like this is the 5th time that we've seen Mirna on Team Netherlands for the World Surfing Games. That they've got a pick of quite a few spots to be able to go, okay, where are we going for the World Surfing Games this year? Where do we need to put some team training into?
Yeah.
What location a few months out or in the year in preparation do we need to start spending time in any of those 3 more powerful surfing nations on the Atlantic coastline?
Yeah, powerful surf that they have there.
Literal powerful
and there's beach
surf.
breaks and reef breaks, and you can go to warmer parts and cooler parts. So there's the opportunity, as you suggested, to tailor your training outside of your own country, and not have to travel too far to find those type of conditions to train in. Love the Netherlands, been there a couple of times. Fantastic place. We see Polaris Carreras from Puerto Rico. We'll be hearing some shouting and some hooting and some hollering from the crowd, no doubt about it. Look at the bottom of the board in the national colours there too.
Oh yeah, I love when surfers just decked out their equipment, put their own flair, whether it is those kind of team colors, those national colors, or some artwork. Maybe they've drawn on it, maybe they've got a friend that's an artist. You get those Posca pens and you can really just go to town.
That's the great thing about a surfboard. It is a canvas. It's a canvas to ride and a canvas to work on as well if you're artistically inclined.
Down to 9 minutes on the clock. And Mirna out to just a really solid start, putting herself near that 10-point heat total. Belize sitting in that second place position, chasing a 6.20. That just shows that requirement always kind of shows the strength of that heat leader.
Yes.
If that second place requirement to take the win is big, that heat leader is really dominated.
Yes.
And then that requirement on that third place surfer is only a 3.6, so it's really close between second and third at the moment. Only the top 2 will be advancing through, and the bottom surfer will be eliminated from competition today. So Sive, she has a little bit of work to do, but not that much, and she's such a skilled surfer. The whole Gerard family representing for American Samoa event after event, but she hasn't been able to find that rhythm and that drive that she needs within the water right now.
Yeah, that was a shame, that one. The wave kind of doubled up, and you saw there was a lump in front of it that the whitewater ran onto the back of, and it lost its power. She had first priority, didn't turn that first priority into a score of consequence, so that's always a mistake, I suppose, and it gives your opponents who then have priority over you the opportunity to sit by you and control what you do or don't do. And Sive, your job, I suppose, in that sense is to move away from your opponents a little bit and find some space and distance so they can't control you or dictate terms. Mirna, you said it was the 5th time that she's represented the Netherlands, and that experience showed in this heat. There's still 7.5 minutes to go, but right from the very start, she was active, confident, and the experience was showing for sure.
That's right. Her favorite wave is Uluwatu. So she's been able to spend some time traveling. It's always nice when you have a favorite wave like that and you actually kind of scored when you went there. It's become your favorite wave because you went and actually in the week or the 2 maybe that you were there. Sometimes you have that opportunity to go on, a month-long holiday and just surf heaps, maybe a training trip. But to be able to just actually get to a wave like Ulu's, experience what it's all about.
Oh, I love that wave, and it is one of the most consistent waves. It's not hard to score it, and even your every single day is pretty good there through that season of surf, call it sort of March through to September, that period of time. And great part of the Bukit Peninsula is just one of the surfing meccas of the world. Incredible waves. And we miss Bali. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
Love that place.
Nice looking peak coming through now.
Oh, so
wow.
Sive in the third priority then could have been a little more active and forced some action out of first priority, I felt like, but didn't really sucker her into it. Here we go.
Mirna now up and riding. Nice looking pocket to start with. Throws a lot of spray out of that opening turn. Pumping down the line, looking for that finish now. We've seen some big scores come from that ending section. She won't be able to hold on to the finish. She's starting to get to know this wave a little better. She's got a big smile on her face regardless.
Yeah, that won't change the situation as such. Here goes Sive. She's got an opportunity. Snaps out of the top, cuts back.
Pumping, setting it up for this inside reform, and just tags it under the lip. So she's looking still for that 3.60.
There's a chance. The fact that last little turn off the whitewater and she stayed on her feet, there's a chance that wave could be, perhaps it's just shy, but there is a chance. Look at that lovely drone shot. What a wonderful thing the drones have been for the broadcast.
Yeah,
and the angles and the pictures we get to see out.
We've been able to see, the kind of more details of the reef here, get to know that better, which is always nice from a drone angle. We've also gotten to see now that those beautiful mountain ranges out behind us.
Yeah, and the town.
In the jungle.
Of Arecibo. Yeah, beautiful countryside.
Beam down on the beach. We're just underneath that 5-minute mark. We've got a big day of surfing ahead of us. If you're just tuning in now, there are some repecharge heats happening today. So we're currently in our repecharge round 1. We've got 11 heats in this repecharge round, and we'll be heading into 11 heats that we're running today. There's 16 total within the round, because we were able to get started with those first 5 heats yesterday. Once we finish out with heat number 16 of the women, we're going to be heading into men's repecharge round 2. There's 18 heats total, and our goal today is to get through that entire round.
Yep.
We're doing the same thing, and we're swapping where the women will be surfing their repecharge round 2, all 16 heats, at El Pico, which is that group of surfers that you can see just off to the left-hand side of the screen. Those are all competitors. They've got a heat changeover happening at the moment, which is why you see more than 4 in the lineup. And they're starting out with the final 11 heats of their repecharge round for men's round 1. They were able to get through the first 7 heats yesterday. So just kind of swapping back and forth. We'll get some great coverage of both the men's and the women's today on the broadcast. And we'll get to hear from a lot of those surfers.
Oh, big set.
Great opportunity as we come down to 3 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Paddle now from Feliz as she's setting herself up on her forehand, looking to improve on a 2.77 to start to close the door a little harder on Sive, and that was a nice re-entry.
Yeah, single turn, bit of a closeout, but a bigger wave, and the bottom turn was beautiful, connected with the lip with great timing, completed it. There is a chance she improves and ups the ask for Sive. Sive only got a 2.33, so didn't get what she needed. She needs another ride. She's got 2 minutes and 50. Red with the first priority and the lead, dominant position from the start of this one. Sive with the second priority, so that's good. She will get another chance, you'd imagine, before this is over to get that 3.6, or does it improve, or does the ask go up? Here we go, up again for Liz.
All right, setting it up for the first turn. The board just gets blasted off of her feet. A 2.9 was her last wave, set her up with a more significant second place position. A 3.73 now is the requirement on Sive. Her last wave came through for Sive at a 2.33, so she was able to improve her overall heat total, but it needs to be a score higher than her highest score of that 2.67 to actually decrease her requirement to take away the lead. So she hasn't quite been able to do that for American Samoa. We're down to 2 minutes on the clock. Sive putting herself in position here. Under second priority, giving it a strong paddle, now up and riding on her backhand, and just kind of links it underneath the lip for a moment, but can't find that open face again.
And the wave itself, she was just behind the breaking part of the wave and stuck in that wider water. The wave itself was enough, I think. It had that nice tapering wall, and a couple of backhand re-entries on that one could have seen her get the score. Just that positioning for the takeoff meant she was a little bit behind the whitewater and didn't get a chance. Still a minute 25. She could get another chance as well. So you can see she's trying to power her way back out the back fast as possible so that she can hopefully get another chance to surf.
Strong paddles. Seems like that's a really important part of even just the takeoff today, because the wave seems a little bit slow, right? It's a lot crumblier compared to what we've been watching on broadcast the last couple days at Magara, which has a quick takeoff. You got to be ready to go up on your feet in an instant. This one seems like you kind of have to have quite a lot of paddling speed to be able to have momentum on takeoff, so that you can create a little bit of speed on this wave as well.
Absolutely. You need to be able to generate, you want to get up to your speed up to the same speed that the wave is traveling for it to pick you up, and the earlier it picks you up and you can jump to your feet, the more time you've got to set things up and make sure that you're in the right position and use the wave's face as a skateboard ramp really to build speed. Here's Feliz.
Feliz with a little double up on the inside, sets herself up for the single maneuver, and that nose goes in.
She hasn't been able to improve her position for quite some time. So, again, that won't improve, and she'll leave the door open just that little bit. 10 seconds. Will Sive Jared from America Samoa get another chance?
5 seconds to go. Sive, we can't see her on screen right now. She also doesn't have priority next to her name. So I'm wondering if she's either still paddling to get back out, or maybe, possibly had caught a wave. We just haven't seen it yet, but it doesn't look like it. There she is on screen, so she's just paddling herself back to the shoreline now and was unable to get that final opportunity. The win is going to go to Mirna Bolsma, the 8-time national champion for the Netherlands, 5th time representing the Netherlands here at the World Surfing Games, and her surfing just gets sharper and sharper every time we get to see her. Excellent performance, and we'll see more of her throughout the week. When we return, Chris Cote, Mitch Salazar, and Otto Florence join the conversation.
In Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua. We are proud, passionate, and full of life. On our island, secrets are more precious when shared. Passion flourishes. We enjoy until our hearts are full. And we know that gifts can come from anywhere. Live Boricua.
Desde la primera vez que te probé, ese sabor nunca lo olvidé. Quiero mi pancho, te amo pancho. Desde la primera vez que te probé, ese sabor nunca lo olvidé. Quiero mi pancho.
Campo Pancho, solo $4.99.
Te amo pancho.
Welcome back to the ISA World Surfing Games. We are live from the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. We have some incredible competition happening today. This is last chance qualification on the line. Repechaje, round 1, heat 12 in the water now. We've got a solid lineup of international surfers trying to stay in this competition. First and second place will hang in there. Third place will be out. Nala Lee, Jolaris Carreras, and Imani Wilmot. South Korea, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica represented in the water. In the booth, myself, Chris Cote, Mitchell Salazar, joined by Otto Flores. Otto, thanks so much for coming back in. Today is going to be an interesting day of competition. Of course, the waves vastly different than we've seen in the first 2 days. Highly contestable, very rippable, as we see on display right now. You got to be happy from what you just saw from Puerto Rico's Jolaris Carreras.
Yeah, Jolaris has definitely put a lot of time. You know, here in Arecibo, the Puerto Rican team has been here for the last 3 months. just basically living here and doing trainings every week. And Yolari is one of our strong, goofy footers, and kind of excited to have a heat with one of my country ladies. She's awesome. Her tempo, really mellow chick, but when it comes to hitting the lip sometimes, as you could see there on the screen, pretty radical surfer.
And I've seen up and down the boardwalk, when Puerto Rican surfers hit the water, the crowd goes wild. Brian Toth, a great example. Yesterday, I think he had the loudest crowd here. And even in the rain, even with the early, dawn patrol session that's happening right now, crowds on the beach backing up. Jolaris, what would this place be like on a normal day? Let's say no contest is in town. It's a Monday. The waves are like we'd see right now. What would the vibe be like up and down the beach?
There probably wouldn't be anybody in the water. Even though Rastreal is a very frequented place, we obviously come when the swell's ready for it. Obviously today, a little bit of challenging conditions, still super contestable. And, coming here for so long before the competition, we saw many faces of El Rastreal, and that gave us comfort. Even on a smaller day and a smaller swell, we've seen 8s and 7s go down. So we're really stoked that at least, with a more smaller side of the swell, we're still seeing excellent scores.
Hey, Otto, first of all, I want to thank you for having us here, hosting us. The development of Puerto Rico has been noticeable over the last 10 to 15 years, I would say. I worked with you in 2016 at an event at Punta Roca, Women's QS. We saw women surfing develop there, but Latin American surfing overall, I would have to say, has had a major impact the last 6 or 7 years. El Salvador, done a lot of great events. What about Puerto Rico, though? What can we expect after this event, too?
Well, I think all eyes are on us right now. We did an SUP event a couple of years ago. I think it was a trial event for us to kind of get in the mix, but the history is super rich. In 1968, we had the World Championships with names like David Nueva, Nat Young, or Jorge Machuca, who's an epitome, probably one of the most iconic surfers we ever had. And then running into that 88 World Titles at Surfers Beach, where we saw Chris Brown just revolutionize surfing. Fabio Gubea, the Brazilian team, was really strong. So having the World Surfing Games again here in Puerto Rico, it's only going to initiate another fire. It's going to inspire our team, our country, and hey, we're loud and proud.
No doubt. A lot of history, and a lot of history in the making right now. Some of it made by the winner of that last heat, joined now by Rachel Tilley.
We are here with Mirna representing the Netherlands. Congratulations. You looked so comfortable and confident out there. And you were just telling that you and your team have been here for about a month practicing. Tell me about that. How has your past month in Puerto Rico been?
It has been super nice. We had the selection week first here to define the team. And after we got a lot of time to practice both the breaks. So that's been really good.
And how does this compare, a wave like this, how does this compare to waves back home in the Netherlands?
Oh, that's a lot of difference. It's back home we have a lot of wind swell and like choppy onshore waves most of the time. So being here in warm water and powerful waves, that's amazing.
So much team spirit from the Netherlands. They're all down here supporting, cheering. What is it like representing your country and being here with that team?
It's such an honor. It's amazing to be here and surf for my flag, and with this team around me, it's been feeling really good.
Well, you looked amazing out there. Looking forward to seeing how you go later in the events. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rachel. And yeah, what a great ambassador for surfing in the Netherlands. Mirna Bolsa making it through, staying in this competition. And that's what it's all about, right? Giving your team the best chance at success by clinging to your wins by any means necessary. It's not going to be easy out there today. The good news is, with the waves a little bit on the smaller side, it might be a little bit more approachable for surfers from developing nations. When it's 6 foot and gnarly out here, that would be a big test for surfers just cutting their teeth in surf contests. So I feel like today is a great kind of gateway for some of these surfers that just need more practice, that just need more reps in jerseys. Jolaris Carreras, obviously she's feeling very comfortable out there. She's probably surfed out here a lot in waves of consequence. But for a lot of the surfers left in the draw, I think this is going to be a welcome day to just get a little bit more practice. Chris Cote, Mitchell Salazar, Otto Flores, Very happy to have you guys in here today. Today's going to be one of those days where we see a lot of new faces and a lot of new names. And I feel like representation is extremely important in surfing. We have over 50 nations represented here today. What's your favorite part about seeing some of these new flags and new faces in the lineup and welcoming them to your country of Puerto Rico?
Well, I think the plethora, the colors, all the flags here, but the enthusiasm, as we see here on screen, Joe Lares, our heat leader, just attacking that left at Rastrial. Coming back to what you had to say, Chris, I saw it when I was 12 years old at the 88 World Titles, and that really triggered a lot of the love that I have for surfing. Seeing every country, seeing every flag, seeing all the colors, but also that brotherhood and that lifestyle that we all share, that surf community lifestyle. And just to host it here in Puerto Rico, it's a blessing for us.
This is a perfect display of what we're just talking about. Team Jamaica out there in full effect, supporting Imani Wilmot, and it's a double, right? Not only a teammate, but also a sister to some of the other riders on Team Jamaica. Always come through with a lot of spirit and a lot of pride and a lot of stoke for surfing.
Well, it's a close event for them, too. I mean, in the Caribbean, they actually compete quite often. Also, going to that, Puerto Rico, they have the Corona Series, too, a great circuit that not only opens the door for a lot of Puerto Ricans here, but also a lot of the Caribbean surfers. Talk to me about that development, too. It's been huge for you guys.
Well, we've had a pro circuit for about 15 years, and it doesn't only bring and highlight the surfers from Latin America and the Caribbean, but also American surfers from the East Coast, West Coast, and even Hawaii come here as we see a replay of the Puerto Rican surfer. Nice snap off the top. Looking really fluid today, closes it down.
Wow.
And I saw an 8.67, if I'm not mistaken, in the scoreboard. So I'm feeling pretty stoked about that one. Yolari's throwing the tail and looking really fluid at Rastrial.
Last turn was radical. This is a great combination of turns here.
Yeah, and this is the back of the 517 for Carreras. Wave riding vehicles, the influence for the East Coast of the United States, it's very noticeable here in Puerto Rico. And I also think that, having had a lot of surfers come here, late 70s, early 80s, Juan Ashton, also a great surfer who's been a multiple-time gold medalist here at the ISA Level 2 at the Masters Auto.
Yeah, I mean, our coach is also a Masters world champ, Magna Martinez, and it's the Caribbean brotherhood. We have Imani Wilmot in the water. Big hello to Billy Wilmot and the Wilmot crew. They've welcomed us in Jabnasia there in Jamaica, and they're always keen to come down here. Ika's always down here doing the Corona contest. And the development of surfing obviously has been a long story down here in Puerto Rico. And surfers from all around the world come around, and more and more, the doors have been open. People are coming down. But to everyone's surprise, I get it from everybody. I got it from Jack Robinson yesterday and a couple of the surfers that are like, I never knew. And it's like, hey, we've always been here,
Now you know. Now you found out.
Why do you think that is, though? I mean, because Chris used to run Trans World Surf. I felt like he always exposed Dylan Graves, Ale Moreda, even yourself within the magazine, too.
This guy's a cover guy.
Yeah.
Trans World Surf.
Well, we were about to talk about that yesterday. So, I obviously, my career went a different way, and I did a lot of the editorial side of surfing and all that. And Chris was a big part of my job. I did get a cover here in the North Shore of Puerto Rico. One of my favorite waves, no secret to anybody, Chatarra. It's a beautiful wave in San Juan that kind of helped me cut my teeth to surf pipeline in places like Chopo, where I had a lot of success and I had a lot of happiness. I really, really felt comfortable. And I think the coastline of Puerto Rico was the root of that. We have waves of consequence here. We have a lot of different waves. We have lefts, we have rights, we have a lot of reef breaks. And just coming home was almost like a good practice, but also being home is awesome when you get barreled and sleep in your own bed.
Something special about scoring at home. And this guy does that a lot.
Yeah.
It's different for us in California,
But that goes to show you that having these waves here provides the platform to be able to go and be comfortable at those other locations that are some of the most dangerous in the world, including Tahiti, where we're going to have the Olympic Games. It almost seems, though, just like surfers from Hawaii, Indonesia, a lot of people don't want to leave here because the waves are just too good too often, Noto.
Well, I think that's true. And as you can see, Jolari's feeling really comfortable, just in rhythm. Her tempo is just perfect. Her board looks incredible. And a big shout out to the guys at WRV, Pupo and all that. We have our own WRV here at Hobos, and Les and family, those guys have always been supportive in Hawaii and in Puerto Rico, and they extended that WRV family, and they've always catered to the Puerto Rican surfers. So a big hello to those guys, always supporting us here, and I know they did it in the North Shore as well. A lot of Hawaiian surfers surfing for WRV.
Yeah.
We're at 7 minutes and 13 seconds left here in repechage. Round 1, Heat 12. Jalares Carreras is ripping an 8.67, highest single wave score of the day, taking out even Katie Simmers, who was dropping 8s earlier on. So those numbers tell us that it is very contestable out there. She just did a searing combination of 3 big turns, got that solid finish, the near excellent score. And Imani Wilmot, right now she's only sitting on a 1.77 and a 0.67, but this right here is great for her because Nalali is not out in the lineup. So this basically is a walkthrough for both of these surfers, but you can tell Jalares is not taking this heat lightly, and I think Imani Wilmot right now is kind of just assessing the conditions, preparing herself potentially for her next heat. She knows she's going to be making it through. She was born in Bull Bay. Favorite surf break is Copa. And talk about achievements for her. Jamaican national champion. She has an award for outstanding performance in surfing in Jamaica. And it just goes on and on. She's been a speaker at universities all up and down the coast of California. And she is right now contributing as a pioneer in women's surf development and surf therapy in Jamaica. So not only feeling the joy that surfing gives her, but also giving back to others through surfing. So a hero in her own right, and an incredible surfer as well. And coming up next, we've got another international superheat. This is going to be a fun one to watch. This will be our scouting report for a few of these surfers who most likely we haven't seen much in contest history. So it'll be really fun to see what happens next. But we've got 5.5 minutes left to go here, and safe to say Jalares Carreras is on a good one right now, building momentum in this heat and definitely proving her case that she is a surfer to watch here in Puerto Rico.
Can't believe that she's in the repechaje, honestly, but it does seem like the forehand is the strength rather than the backhand, Otto.
Yeah, I mean, she's a very avid goofy footer. She's got a great backside. We have a lot of rights in Puerto Rico, but she feels comfortable on the lefts. And, you know, we saw yesterday, being in rhythm with Margara is not an easy task.
Not at all.
And, you know, you have to pick the eyes off the spot. Telling a lot of people, you know, you got to catch the right from the right place in the peak and also the left. And we saw excellent scores over there, but it wasn't an easy task. We also saw heats like Molly Picklum, totals of 6 point in a heat. So very tricky wave, excellent wave, but I think like everywhere in the world, you know, you got your J-bays, your pipelines, like they're all tricky and you got to know how to surf them.
Absolutely. What was the most eye-opening experience that you had inside of Puerto Rico that probably allowed you to do good stuff afterwards in your career, especially as a free surfer too?
Well, when I was 16, I was part of the national team, and we went to Bordeaux, France, for the world titles, and that was just a continuation of like reaffirming that this is what I wanted to do, and also discovering the waves in my patio was amazing. My mom, when I was a little kid, she took me to the spot called Secret Spot, which is a beautiful wave that breaks off the rocks, and I thought I was like in another world, you know. We used to have these sand dunes, and I went on surf trips in my own island. So, you know, after that, competitive surfing came into my life. I did the OP Junior, and I had a really good amateur career, but it was the Donovan Frankenreiters and the Brad Gerlachs of the world that kind of convinced me that looking for good waves would be amazing. So that's what triggered my free surfing career.
It's pretty hard to make it as a free surfer now, though, isn't it?
It's a different time. 3 minutes, 20 seconds to go here. Repechage, round 1, heat 12 in the water right now. We've just received word that after this, the entirety of our first repechage round, we're going to cut the day short. Our repechage women will compete till roughly 11:15, and that goes for our repechage men as well. So we're just going to keep one round in the water and then assess the conditions. And probably about 11:15, going to be going to the free surfers for the rest of the day.
Hey, we might get into the water too. Who never knows?
Going to be our time.
Hopefully.
With hundreds of surfers from all over the world in town. I'm sure there's an extra board for me to borrow. So.
Not if you know somebody.
There's a lot of surfboards in Puerto Rico already. 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Jolaris Carreras on a roll. 867, 667. And guess what? I want more. I want to see more from Jolaris Carreras. I've just become a huge fan of this powerful goofy footer. And it looks like she is taking out maybe a little bit of her frustration finding herself in the repechage round on these poor waves. She's relentless.
I think what happens is, she put so much time in here, and she surfed this place with all the conditions that she could. And like you said, she's probably getting loose, feeling comfortable. She's like, whoa, I remember the day that one of the days that I was practicing, and here you go, nice big old rail turn for the Puerto Rican surfer, looking for that inside section and just looking in rhythm today.
Board looks really fast too. I like the way that it's buoyant. It always stays on top of the water too. That's going to be key to me. I was telling Chris earlier, Otto, and I would think that you're going to agree with this. Regardless of where you're going, always bring an epoxy in your cribbler.
No doubt. Oh, I bet Team Ukraine brought some epoxies right there. That crew looked hyped.
Well, they need to. They're usually surfing in thick wetsuits. Need as much buoyancy as they can get.
They're more buoyant in Puerto Rico than they are at home. Yeah. It's just awesome to see. I'm a friend of foams. I believe in foam. I like smaller boards, even for bigger waves. So I like flotation. I'm a light-footed surfer, so I like to flow in the water, and I experiment a lot with surfboards. This is a time in my life where I could just take a fin out or put a couple more on, and it's just a good time.
You've heard it, Otto.
Album now, right?
It's been years, man, that I've been experimenting with those boards, and it's been a fun ride.
Literally.
Yeah.
48 seconds left to go. Jolaris Carreras putting on a clinic. 867, 667, a 15.34 total. Highest of the day by far. Imani Wilmot from Jamaica. A 1.77 and a 0.67. She is in this heat and advancing through. We have not seen Nala Lee representing South Korea in the lineup yet, but the next heat that's heading out there will have a fully stacked foursome entering the lineup. So I think we're going to see a little bit more tactics at play. I'm not mad at a paddle battle here or there. I like to keep things interesting out in the water.
Entertaining as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. And we're heading into the final seconds in this heat, and it looks like the Puerto Rican surfer just comfortably coming out on top.
Yeah, that will be a great confidence booster for Jolaris Carreras for sure.
Statement,
sometimes if you get knocked out into the repechage round, it can kind of take the wind out of your sails a little bit, but that's how you put the wind right back in your sails. Jolaris Carreras ripping her way to a win. And we're going to be moving on to a quick commercial break, but we will be back with more action. Repechage, round 1, heat 13, coming up next. Stick around.
I spent 22 years thinking about this. I'm arriving in Tokyo, turn my phone on, look, and it's like the waves are gonna be great on the first day, then better, and then best. So I said, somebody's looking at us. Somebody wants us to be successful.
As Olimpíadas, claro que me tornou pouco mais forte. Não maior que ninguém, mas me deu pouco mais de vontade de continuar buscando evoluir, de continuar no mesmo nível, crescendo e inspirando pessoas ao redor do mundo.
I went to the Olympics with this bigger sense of pride and purpose. It felt just really special to win the gold medal in surfing for the first time and bring it back home to Hawaii. I've never been more proud to be Hawaiian than I am in this moment.
And in many ways, we gave a surfing hug to the Olympic moment.
Olympic moments right there. We will never forget. Welcome back to Puerto Rico. This is the ISA World Surfing Games, where we field the final 14 Olympians. By the end of this week, our Olympic field will be set. Cannot wait to see what names will be competing the end of the road in Tahiti. Will it be one of these names? Ines Tabai, Tiana Kutjevich, Yomi Wu, and Sylvia Polakova? And only in the ISA will you see a foursome like this. Morocco, Ukraine, China, and Slovakia take to the water. Chris Cote here with Mitchell Salazar and Otto Flores. And this is another one of these really fun heats because this is a heat of discovery. I have not seen any of these four surfers in a competition except for in the ISA. I watched, I believe, one of these names yesterday. And this is where they're going to be able to show us a little bit more about them, and we get to explain to the world what makes each of these four surfers special. And just making it down here to Puerto Rico to compete in this event is a huge step, you know, for a surfer from Slovakia, from the Ukraine, just
China,
far flung from right here. So it's a special moment right now for the surfing world because right now, I mean, we're opening doors for these rising surf nations and putting them on the biggest stage.
Well, we've seen the evolution of Chinese surfers and the dedication that their government has put forward for them, as we see our surfer from China in yellow trying for a little up and down. But it's incredible to see. For somehow I can identify one of these surfers. Tanya actually visits and lives in Puerto Rico, in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, and she's representing Ukraine. So an expat, a person that loves the waves here on island, but representing their mother country, and it's awesome to see that. And more we've seen a lot of surfers migrate to Puerto Rico, not only from the East Coast of the United States, but international surfers. And it's developed a really beautiful surf community. Puerto Ricans are really open. You know, like if you're a nice person, Puerto Ricans will take you in really quick. And yeah, this is something that we're seeing. We're seeing a growing community of surfers moving to Puerto Rico for the waves and obviously for the food and the music.
For the Boricua. Love to hear it. 16:40 to go. Sylvia Polakova from Slovakia. Awesome story there as we see now Tiana, her backhand flying down the line. Section didn't give her much, so it'll be a low score, but a good start for Tiana. So Sylvia is the president and co-founder of the Slovak Independent Surfing Association. So without her, they got no team. We want to thank Sylvia for her dedication to the sport. She's awesome. She started surfing when she was 22 years old. She's also into wakeboarding, snowboarding, swimming, boxing, and all types of sports. And she is, at 15 years old, she became the Slovakian national champion in boxing. So don't drop in on her, Mitchell.
I won't.
I know you would never anyway, but that's even more reason. She's a national champion in boxing, and she's the president of the Slovakian Surfing Association. Pretty awesome.
First time we've seen them compete at ISA competition, too. It's just really amazing. 55 nations this time, getting a couple different countries. British Virgin Islands also their first time, Chris, as we see Wu here, our Chinese competitor, up and riding.
That was a nice slash right there. Great form for Yama Wu. Maybe just trying a little too much on that inside section, but I'm not mad at it. Why not just go for it? This is your last chance qualifier here. Third and fourth place are out of this contest. First and second, hang in there. So far, Team China with a 1-2-3. Not a bad start for Yama Wu.
Yeah, and we've seen the evolution. I had the luxury to go to China, to Hainan, for a couple of these ISA events, and the amount of progression that these surfers have done from the first time I went to China to today. I've seen excellent surfing by the Chinese team, so it's epic to see the evolution. Mitch, I'm sure you've seen them, you know, competition by competition, and it's pretty evident that the Chinese team is taking it very seriously.
Yeah, this came in as a 3-1-7, and to your point, Otto, there's people that are good at winning heats, but I think technically is where we're seeing most advancement from them. We saw Cixi Yang drop a 6.0 with just one turn yesterday on a heavy section too. You're probably not going to find that kind of section in China almost anywhere. So for her to be able to adapt and adjust in the moment also says a lot about the kind of stuff that they're doing behind the scenes. Remember, they're one of the teams that win most Olympic medals at every single venue that they go to as well. So I feel adaptability is going to be a key to success in the years to come too, Chris.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cixi in the upcoming Olympic Games. I mean, she is an Olympic hopeful. This is her path. It starts right here in Puerto Rico, so we'll see how that unfolds. 13:50 to go. Lilias Tabay, representing Team Morocco, 19 years old, from the beautiful city of Casablanca. She is on her turquoise surfboard.
Testing.
And she right now is very motivated to participate and fight for a place in the Paris Olympics. We'll see how she handles herself in the water right now with 13:20 to go. Surfers getting themselves set in the lineup. Gives us a chance to catch up with Rachel Tilley with the winner of that last heat.
Congratulations. What a stellar heat and a phenomenal performance. An 8.67. You are now tied with Molly Picklum for the highest single wave score of the entire event. How does that feel? What was that wave for you? Talk me through it.
Se sintió súper bien, salió ahí una alita perfecta y súper cool tener ese score. Vamos para el próximo hit ahí.
Yolari says it feels really good. She had a great score on that wave, and she's ready to keep on in this heat. And next heat is another one coming.
Now, representing Puerto Rico, we're here in your home country. The energy is so high. The cheers are loud. What does it mean for you to be performing in front of all of your people?
Ya, de verdad que es súper especial, se siente bien brutal la energía afuera, adentro, en todos lados y es súper brutal tener a todo este corillo que me ha visto crecer, toda mi familia, tener la oportunidad de estar aquí con ellos y que me vean es súper brutal y ya, Cali, todo el corillo que está ahí apoyando es un montón, se siente súper brutal, en verdad, súper agradecida con todo el corillo y los que lo están viendo también.
She says it's a very special moment. She's very grateful of having all her family, friends, people who have seen her growing up. All of us, the Surfing Federation here, we're all a family. So it feels great. That energy is great, and it's just going to keep us going with a good momentum in the next heats.
Everyone's clearly extremely proud of you, and what an awesome experience to have such a stellar performance in front of everyone. Is there anything you'd like to say back to your country, your family, your friends?
Nada, gracias a todo el corillo que me ha apoyado, en verdad. Son demasiada gente que los tengo aquí, demasiado agradecida. Súper, vamos para el próximo hit.
Very thankful to all the family, everybody who's watching, everybody who's supporting the Puerto Rico team, and we're going to keep on going. So thank you.
Congratulations and good luck for the next one. Back to you guys.
Yeah, you saw just a quick look of relief that turned to stoke. Right there, you could tell her motivation. She is fired up, and I'm excited to see what we have next for Jolares, as she is well into this event now. And with that type of performance, I mean, you can bet the rest of the repechaje surfers are thinking, okay, this is not going to be easy at all. 10:50 to go. Right now, your surfer from China, 15-year-old from Taiyan. Her favorite break is Ryu Bay in China. That's probably the most famous wave in China at the moment. And, you know, she's already shown us some flashes of how good she really is, and I think if she finds herself on the right wave, she can get 6, 7, 8. You know, she's got all the skills to do that.
She definitely does, and it seems like she's able to do it on both the forehand and the backhand today. And as we've spoken of today, you got to approach it as a beach break, though. It's definitely not a wave that's breaking in the same place the entire time, moves a lot, and especially with the use of priority, you have to be very intelligent the way you play it, especially in the back end of the heat.
Yeah, most definitely. And going a little bit back to Yolaris, it seemed like she felt really, really comfortable, and you could see it in her emotions, huh? Like some motion of relief and just getting in touch with her best surfing. And people don't know it, but that's pretty hard to do. You know, sometimes you paddle out and things don't go your way. Like you're focused on the lefts, and then a right comes at you, and it's really awesome when everything comes together and everything you've done, all that hard work that you do before, kind of pays off in the end.
With 9.5 to go, Silvia Sisi Polakvia sitting out the back right now. Your representative from Slovakia hasn't caught any waves yet, but she's out the back with that first priority spot.
Otto, I got a question for you. I've known a lot of Puerto Ricans. Puerto Rico, I love this place. I think the people are the most amazing part of it, actually. But Spanish is the official language of the country, but it is a U.S. territory. Why do only a certain amount of the population speak both languages? Whereas we just saw Jolaris right there. She had to have the person translate for her.
I think it's a confidence thing. I'm sure she can speak Spanish. She could speak English, but yeah, Spanish is our first language. We were colonized by Spain 500 years ago, but there's a huge influence. We're American citizens. We're a territory of the United States. There's American schools, and our public system teaches English, but there's some people that are comfortable with just speaking Spanish. But the grand majority of Puerto Rico and a lot of what happens around us is a bilingual culture, and yeah, this day and age, any young kid is born with English and Spanish, but our hearts are where our culture is, and Spanish is our roots, and it's been the language that's been here for years. So I think Jolaris does speak a little bit of English, but I think the nerves, and being on the podium and not on the podium but on the interview stage is it probably got to her, and she feels more comfortable speaking to her audience in her language. But yeah. The English language is a big influence, but culturally we speak Spanish.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because it opens a lot of doors for people too. Travel internationally, and especially when we're talking about competition, especially the Olympics, it's huge knowing both languages.
Well, it opened the doors for me personally. I mean, being bilingual and, thanks to my parents, the education that I got, it just really let me hear both worlds in a very clear state, and communication is key. And I saw my peers struggle, the ones that couldn't speak perfect English, but now all my peers are sharp as a knife speaking English. So yeah, matter of education, time, bit of patience, but yeah, English and Spanish, pretty much the major languages of the world.
The ISA brings a lot of polyglots together as well. A lot of these surfers coming from the European countries will blow your mind. Speaking 5-6 languages.
Kanoa speaks 5.
Yeah, exactly. Great example right there.
Kanoa speaks Puerto Rican.
Right? So with 6 minutes, 39 seconds to go, surfer from Morocco, Ines Tabai in the lead for now, the 2.87 and a 2.50. Yaomel Wu, Team China, has the highest single wave score, 3.17, and she goes again. Sharp backhand surfing right there. A tricky little wave, but definitely got the most of it. Again, that was just a flash of how good she really does surf. And we're going to see a lot more from Yaomel, not just in this heat, but I have a feeling, strong suspicion she's going to advance through. And just like that, she takes over that top spot with a 4.5.
Well, the interesting thing here, too, is that they're doing super well by developing their young surfers, too. If you look at, we're at the World Surfing Games right now. Anybody can surf in the open division, but most of these surfers are still juniors. And I think that's really where they're going to have major success, by getting those young surfers going at bigger events like this one, Chris. Start them early.
I mean, just wait. When LA 2028 comes around, Team China is going to be an absolute threat in the surfing program, that's for sure.
Well, you could always see it. You get that the World Surfing Games, the junior games, and you see that a lot of those really good athletes translate to this. And just to be comfortable in this stage for a junior, it's a feat in itself. And, we've seen multiple countries that bring the juniors to the World Surfing Games as well. So developing countries and just putting them on the big stage right away.
Speaking of that, bigger wave for Ines Tabai, representing Team Morocco. There's Team China right there, fully focused on what's happening in the water. And Yaomel Wu again. Pretty a nice little wave to ride there. Probably not going to replace that 3.17. She's feeling it. Love to see it.
Well, technique-wise, just the back foot to me, those are the subtle things that I look for in terms of people that are improving. Having her back foot all the way on the tail pad, she's already preparing for those big sections, and you can just tell she gets on the right wave, she's going to post a couple excellent scores.
And there's some similarity to Rio Bay, that little long, left. And, we've seen it in small conditions. And I see, her flow, when she actually gets into a rhythm, it kind of looks a little bit like home, Sometimes that little gutless left, but if you're in the right rhythm and have the right tempo, and she looks like she's right on it.
The repechage round 1, heat 13 right now is going to Team China and Team Morocco. Tina Kutjevic from Team Ukraine needs a 4.47. Sisi Polakova from Slovakia still needs to get involved in this heat, needing a 5.44. She has that top priority spot. Just kind of patiently waiting for a wave to present itself.
I can't even imagine being from a landlocked country, competing at a world championship, and basically founding the Surfing Federation and being just thrust in to competition like this, Chris. Must be very intimidating.
I just love that, she's probably been surfing for a while, living in Slovakia and waiting for somebody to do something that she says, you know what? I'll do it. I'll take it. So she took it on her own and co-founded the Slovakian Surfing Association, and we're very excited to have her and the team down here. And I'm going to go ahead and put Slovakia on my list of must-see places, because from what I've seen just on her social media and the other members of the team, it's like an awesome place to visit.
Definitely. I mean, the difference in terms of the weather might be a major factor for you.
I'm geared up. I'm ready.
I know you like to go snowboard all the time, but in terms of getting out, I think all it takes is one person. We saw Leo Fioravanti on screen a little while ago, and I remember as a junior, he was the only guy on the team. And look at them now. They have a full team, and they've actually improved their seed drastically, moved over 30 spots in the last few years, too. As looking at the replay here, although, I mean, you mentioned Rio Bay. You can see those little glimpses. It's the continuous movement on the backhand that does it for me right there.
Yeah, I think her rhythm kind of shows where she's from. As we see the Moroccan surfer, she probably goes right a lot, but not really doing bad here on the left side of Rastrial. But yeah, you see when a surfer kind of taps into it, and obviously Wu tapping into those little lefts and kind of seeing a familiarity, with those lefts and just kind of rolling with that rhythm, and just I really like her technique. She can go vertical pretty much on any section.
With a minute 46 to go, she's pretty much in control of this heat right now. She's hitting that second priority spot. We see Taina making her way in right there.
One of her best waves, still needing something in the low fours, and just want to see Sylvia get a wave right here in the last 90 seconds, Chris.
Here goes Wu again. She's found these little left-hand gems. That's the section that's been providing her with the canvas to work with. Perks up through the inside, third turn. It's what you call grindy QS style surfing. And I love that, she appears to be using every minute in the water just to practice, to keep that flow going and build momentum towards her next heat. She saw Ines Tabai right there, current second place surfer.
Yeah, definitely tapping into those little lefts. Wu just showing why she's in first place. Really like the consistency, and like you said, grinding every little bit of those little lefts.
I think all three of us know about having to grind out a heat every now and then.
Definitely.
Something tough, but something necessary at moments in time like this. And, with 30 seconds to go, 7.67 heats. What I was telling Chris, although I was telling Chris earlier, although 8-9 points, like that's a good heat by today's standards. You got to be very content with what you're doing, and in the end, all you need to do is advance.
Of course, and you're always looking for that better day, and you gotta serve the opportunities that are dealt to you. We saw Molly Plickham get a 6th for a total heat yesterday, and we know the capabilities of her surfing. Probably ranked number 1 in the World Championship Tour at the moment. So it's anybody's game. You just got to make your heat.
Well, that's going to be it for Repechage Round 1, Heat 13. Congratulations to Yaimi Wu from Team China. 4.5 and a 3.17. Ines Tabai moves through in second place as well. Unfortunately, we lose Taina representing Team Ukraine. And that's the last we'll see of Cici Polakova representing Team Slovakia. But we want to thank both of them for coming down here to Puerto Rico. Now, well, they get to be on vacation in PR. Not a bad place to be. So thank you to all 4 of these athletes for putting on a show for us. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be back with more Repechage Round 1 action. Don't go anywhere. It's the ISA World Surfing Games.
El cariño deja una huella. Vela porque estemos bien. Celebra las nuevas etapas de la vida. El cariño nos mantiene en forma para que no nos perdamos ni un segundo de lo que nos llena de vida. Donde hay cariño, hay salud. Por Por eso llevamos 40 años cuidando cada etapa de tu vida. MCS, 40 años de salud completa.
Yeah, I have a reef for 20 years. My reef business card said Jefe, which is chief, and dreamer. La Jefe and dreamer, Spanish and English. That was a card I would give to the president of the bank or whatever. He always made people laugh. Because, you know, the guy like talking, when I asked him for an extra $1 million in loan to buy sandals, and the guy looks at this, I never lend money to somebody with this title, you know.
Welcome back to the ISA World Surfing Games, live from Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Happy to be here to greet and welcome this international competition that has already shown us that there is surfing happening at a high level all over the world. And this heat is going to be more of the same. Paula Kuta, Valeria Ojeda, and Rihanna Rosenbaum. We got Belgium, Venezuela, and the Czech Republic in the lineup. Chris Cote with Mitchell Salazar. Mitchell, who's going to win this heat?
I'm going to go ahead and say Ojeda. She's the most experienced surfer right now, and she's actually up and riding right there real quick. But Paula Kuta, she put in her bio, no, I wasn't born in Bali. That's just my last name. Now resides in Costa de Caparica in Portugal, was born in the Czech Republic, and has only been surfing for a few years. Previous heat, we were talking about polyglots. She speaks 7 languages.
Wow. That makes me feel pretty insecure about myself, but I'm happy for her. That is true brilliance. And Rihanna Rosenbaum right now, speaking of brilliance,
yeah,
what a read on that wave. I mean, that looked like nothing was possible. She made a lot out of it.
That first carve was nice and tight, too. Real good start for her, and made me eat my words about my winner here in the selection right now, Chris. Just under 18 minutes to go, and Ojeda has an offer in her scoreline. Kuta with first priority, but Rosenbaum should be dropping a significant score just based off of the conditions right now. Belgium, you know, a team that has had decent results in the past, nothing crazy, but I would also say they have a lot more to prove. Dean van der Wal's been a great surfer for them in the past, but Rosenbaum is a person that I've seen for a few years now. I think as of right now, though, he's definitely caught my attention with that first wave.
Well, it is still highly contestable out there. It's getting a little chunked up, but sometimes when the wind whips up just a little bit, it actually adds some punch to these waves. It gives you a little bit more dynamic section to work with.
Ooh!
That is a scary fall right there for Paula Kuta. Keep our eyes on her, make sure she's good.
She did a grimace right there a little bit. Hopefully
yeah, that's
everything's fine.
Kind of worst case scenario in waves like this. The board flips. She potentially made contact with all fins, but
yeah,
she's tough. She's already right back out there. She's going to make it a heat for sure. The first wave comes through for Valeria Ojeda, representing Team Venezuela. 0.83, but we know how great a surfer she is. She's been competing in the ISAs for a long time, starting in the juniors and in the Worlds as well for the past few years. So 16.33. Big score comes through for Rihanna Rosenbaum, a 5.33. Surfers resetting themselves in the lineup. Let's throw it down to Rachel Tilley.
I'm here with Yamei Wu, the winner of that last heat. Congratulations. Now, you had strong performances from Team China yesterday with both of your teammates. Were you able to gain any insight or encouragement prior to your heat from them?
首先恭喜你啊，赢得了上一场比赛。因为从昨天中国队的2场精彩的这个表现的话，你从他们身上有没有获得到什么的这个鼓励啊，或者一些其他的信息，让你赢得了今天的比赛？
有，就是他们的抓浪方面值得我学习，然后还有一些就是动作方面的，还是值得学习的。
Yes, she do have, especially for the catching waves, for the line-up position and the maneuvers. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it looked like it out there. Now, being in the repechaje round can sometimes bring some nerves. How are you able to go out there with calm nerves and confidence?
就有些时候掉入到复活赛会产生一些紧张，以及一些这个不安。 你是如何去解决自己在水中的这些情绪的？
就放松心态吧，专注比赛。
Yeah, just calm down and focus on the contest.
Well, it looked like it clearly. Is there anything you'd like to say back to your home, your family and friends?
你有什么想对国内的朋友啊、家人说的？
感谢我的团队，感谢我的教练，然后还谢谢我的家人们努力的支持我。
Yeah, thanks the coaches and families and the friends for the support her. Yeah.
Congratulations, good luck. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. Congratulations to Yami Wu. Ripping surfer representing China in a big way. A lot more to come from Team China in this event. I feel like this could be a breakout competition for that young team.
Absolutely, and given the conditions too, being on the lighter side of most of their surfers, Chris, this should be an excellent week for them. And, you know, speaking of breakout performances, Rihanna Rosenbaum, she's only 22, grew up on the Belgian coast, still lives there herself. Favorite wave is chickens in the Maldives. And once again, this first carve was just beautiful, real nice and tight. Look at the arc on that. And she drew it all the way around and then got a nice finish right here too, Chris. 5.33 on the opening ride. Great start for her.
Yeah, that was solid surfing. You know, speed, power, flow.
SPF.
Full use of rail. Rihanna Rosenbaum.
I know.
From Belgium. I mean, that's a great example. I mean, that is, you got to be born with a lot of natural ability, right? She didn't grow up in a place where there's just waves all over. She had to earn it. She had to seek and find it. And she's a natural. I mean, you can already see the skill level she has.
Well, I think nowadays the key is to get out of your country of origin, to travel as much as you can. That could be very difficult with finite resources depending on where you're coming from, what kind of upbringing you have. As we look at Team Guam right there. Sarah, who surfed earlier this morning, here at the first podium that we're at right now. But I think overall, whether it's just not even getting out of your own country, getting out of your own town, traveling, forcing yourself to be in uncomfortable positions and finding comfort in the uncomfortable, Chris, that's huge. I mean, even just for somebody within your area, why do you think Jake Marshall, Taylor Clark, Levi Slauson, all those kids have had success lately just from Encinitas? Because they've been able to go up and down the coast and surf with guys that are probably better than them, and now they're at the same level, if not even higher. So to me, that's what I'm seeing from most of the countries that have just been elevating their performances so far. I think that goes to show with the Canadians too. I don't think the Olin sisters are at the same level without going to those QS events and junior events from a very young age either.
Oh, and one of the two representatives from Team Latvia coming up next, Katrina Cruz. That'll be another fun heat to watch. Another heat of discovery, which is one of the reasons that I love these repechage rounds. It's so fun to discover new talent, new names, new faces, and kind of hear and read about their stories. Everybody takes a different path to the ISA World Surfing Games, including our surfers in the lineup right now. One of them representing the Czech Republic, Paula Kuta. But right now it's Rihanna Rosenbaum writing her own story, and it's a story of success. Big backside vertical snap right there on the inside section.
Sick.
She's having a great heat. I mean, I don't think she wouldn't be taking any of these surfers lightly. Right now, Valeria Ojeda might be a little bit surprised that a surfer from Belgium has gone out there and just taken this heat by the horns early on.
Valeria's been real quiet with the use of priority 2 in her positioning, and meanwhile, Rihanna, she's been super efficient with the waves that she caught. Only 2 so far, but easily going to back up the 5.33 with this last one, Chris. Going to extend her first place position by a good margin right now.
For sure. Well, there's Paula Kuta in red. Her bio's great. She says, "Hi, my name is Paula Kuta. Number 1, I did not grow up in Bali. I was born in the Czech Republic. I spent my childhood in the Czech Republic and Germany, occasionally traveling a family abroad. And always loved the sea and the water. Grew up as a competitive swimmer, which is a great start. And saw surfing for the first time in Costa Rica in 2016 and was fascinated." Costa Rica really is a place that is inspired a lot of people to start surfing from all over the world.
If you ask most people in the event, I'd say close to 20% in the event either started surfing in Costa Rica or they've gone through Costa Rica to surf.
Or live there.
Yeah. I mean,
and have heritage in Europe or somewhere else.
One of those places. One of those places that everybody just likes going to, and it's the same thing here as Puerto Rico. It's the land of pura vida. You know, everybody's super nice and kind, the weather's great, and waves are super consistent up and down the coast, too.
We were talking about other spots that could potentially host an ISA World Surfing Games. Put Costa Rica on that list.
Yeah? They've done it before?
Yeah.
A couple different representatives right there. Natasha Van Groningen on the right. She's competing in the event. South Africa, I could easily see us going back there, too. I have a couple former gold medalists from South Africa, Jordy Smith being one of them, Travis Logie, great one himself, too. Natasha could potentially be on the podium at the end of the event as well. On the Athletes Commission, too.
And that's Santa Vevere, other surfer representing Team Latvia. She's rad. She came down to El Salvador as the first-time competitor from Latvia.
And the only one, too.
Yeah, the only one. And look at that. She's already doubled her team size. Paula Kuta in the lineup right now, representing the Czech Republic. And coming up next, the other Latvian surfer, Katarina Cruz, take to the water. But even that right there, right? That was just a low-key look at what happens behind the scenes. Surfers getting together, making friends on an international scale.
Networking.
You know, and it's not just about, hey, what do I do when I go out in the heat? What is strategy and all that stuff? It's sharing the love of surfing and just coming together as human beings, which is a huge part of what makes these ISA events so special.
Bachaluque from Ecuador, raised in Australia. Great surfer herself. You know, I've always known her through social media and through a lot of different platforms, but she did the junior series in Australia, did a couple QSs, but hasn't really been a great competitive surfer herself. It's cool to see her kind of put the jersey back on and be like, hey, like, why not do it right now? It's the Olympic movement. Let's get going. Let's promote it a bit more, too.
I've seen video parts, and she's extremely photogenic. Great free surfer.
Mm-hmm.
It only makes sense that, you know, just a little bit of a shift in your mentality, and you can become a really good competitive surfer as well. I know she has that, like you said, in her junior career, so it's great to see her back in a jersey. 7 minutes, 17 seconds to go. Valeria Ojeda sitting on a .83 and a .70. Wouldn't say this is like her. You know, usually she's a pretty tenacious competitor. Again, we've seen her for quite some time now in ISA competition. But I feel like she just knows that could potentially just be a one-wave story. It's a nice looking board right there.
It is. Heisel, the little color too.
There's the Stoke.
Katrina, she just seems like she's having the time of her life. I mean, you get out of the cold, first of all, that's a huge W. Most importantly, get out of the cold, warm water, surf good waves in a comp at least twice. Major W right there, Chris.
Graceful entry into the lineup. I mean,
nothing
underrated for how hard that can be.
My feet would have been just like hitting the water, full speed. My fins would have been hitting the reef right there.
Oriana Rosenbaum from Team Belgium right now is in control of this heat. 5.33 and a 4.33. And here we go, Paula Kuta in the Czech Republic. Nice turn there.
Mm-hmm.
Maintains her composure and speed down the line. Gets another inside carve. That's dry reef. Watch out. Like she got out just in time. Fins intact.
I like the energy, too. Straight onto her board again, Chris, trying to get another wave in the next few minutes.
Here's Ojeda now. Good slash for Valeria.
Much better.
Representing Team Venezuela.
By far going to be her best wave. Grew up in Florida and Venezuela, now resides a good amount of time in California. So good amount of waves, different kinds of waves that she's grown up surfing. And she's making a comeback, still has plenty of time. You know, short paddle back out. Good amount of time to be able to get 2 waves in 5 minutes. Shama Beckford right there. To me, that has to be the best spray in the entire event, Chris.
Yeah, that's a cool looking board.
Ghost face.
Great uniforms, too. I'm trying to come up with an offer, a trade, because I want one of those jerseys. That is rad.
One of your shirts.
3 ISA button-ups for 1 Jamaica jersey, maybe?
Maybe 5.
I'm going to have to borrow your extra one.
Well, that way
the deal.
it could be like, hey, here's an extra large, here's a medium. You can give them to your family, too. One of the coolest dudes you're ever going to meet, and I'd say in terms of Stoke, probably the team that brings it the most.
Ojeda now starting to turn things up. Quick snap there on the closeout section. But her first wave was a 3.5. The judges really liking that big turn she showed them.
Yep.
And that's just going to put her right into pole position and to put a little pressure on Rihanna Rosenbaum. Halakuta sits on a 2.5 and a 1.77.
Took her a while to get going, too.
Yeah. Basically 12 minutes went by before she caught a wave.
Yeah.
But we weren't worried necessarily because Valeria is a pretty steady competitor.
Absolutely. Definitely don't want to get into a rhythm like that, though. Not being confident about yourself, not kind of getting the start that you're going, because then you start overthinking things, and you don't want it to happen later on in the event when things really get dicey. But as of right now, she's going to by far improve on her low score too, Chris, with plenty of time.
3 minutes, 30 seconds to go here in repechage. Round 1, heat 14. Remember, at the end of this round, we're going to call it for the day. We're going to wait for the waves to pulse up a little bit and assess the conditions and make the call for tomorrow, later this afternoon.
So what are we doing? Are we heading back to the hotel? We going to go grab a wave storm, try to catch a little bit of a reef break?
Well, the good news is the world is our oyster, and we're officially unleashed.
On Puerto Rico?
Arecibo.
Watch out, Chris Cote came to town.
Yeah, big news. 2 minutes, 57 seconds left here. Rihanna Rosenbaum sits in second priority. Paula Kuta in that top priority spot. Paula could have a good wave to work with here. It's all about those little chip shots to give you enough speed to get up and going quickly, because the first section is of paramount importance.
Has first priority, needing something in the low 4s, Chris. It's not necessarily an easy score to come by today's standards, but you just need really the right section in order to get it. And look at the intensity that the other 2 surfers are applying towards the surfer in red. Not taking her lightly. She's only been surfing for a couple of years, and pretty darn cool to be able to see this strategy play out in any kind of heat, because you need to be able to take every heat seriously. You know, we've seen people lose with 4 or 5 point heat totals that are higher seeded teams, and overall those are the upsets that sting the most. So Ojeda and Rosenbaum, that they're taking Halakuta very seriously right now, but just under 2 minutes right here, needing a 4.3. Seems like the forehand is the option that she wants to be going on right now, Chris, and might be getting the set here.
This is just their way of welcoming her to the ISA. This is not an easy competition, that is for sure. Hundreds of the world's best surfers meet in one place, all fighting for ISA medals, team glory, in some cases, Olympic qualification. Here we go, Paula Kuta. Nice formed out backside carve to start this wave. Doesn't have a lot of energy in it, but she's giving it all she has. Gets one quick snap at the finish. Looking for a 4.30. Decent turn to start. Wave kind of let her down, but I like the effort and energy that she put in there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the 4.3, but at least, you know, improving your heat total, that's something that you should look at enthusiastically and as a positive. Does that. 2.5 as her backup, Chris. 5.27 heat total. You're getting a quarter of the points available. Just look at the small things and look at the small kind of victories, because remember, everybody's path is a little bit different. It's not necessarily a straight line.
Sparky turn there. Valeria Ojeda, can she ride out? Oh, yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Took her a while to get going, but once she did.
That's high-performance surfing on a low-performance wave.
And she's improved every single time she stood up on her last 3 waves, too. So, needing a 6.16. But the thing is, she's going to create larger distance between herself and Kuta right now, too, with 15 seconds on the clock.
That was radical. And I like that Paula is just there's no quit in her. She's out there tenaciously fighting for one more opportunity.
And gritty too. Can't teach heart, Chris.
That's true. And all of these surfers have displayed that and more. Here's a last look at Valerie's last wave. Great snap to start, and then here's the hammer.
Yeah,
Boom.
Really a layback that came out of nowhere too, because the section was very difficult to ride out of. Extends her body though, and it's that core strength that just allows her to get back up. Little tap right there, but look at that. Look at how that section's just coming at her from a completely different angle too. Might have actually helped her out. It lifted her up at the end. Still waiting for the score, but one of the most radical maneuvers we've seen on day 3 so far, Chris.
Yeah, that was super creative and cool. Love to see it from Valeria Ojeda. Quiet during the first 3 quarters of that heat, but then came back in a big way. We'll see if that flips her positioning, but either way, it's going to be Rihanna Rosenbaum and Valeria Ojeda making it through a tough repechage heat. Unfortunately, we lose a representative from the Czech Republic in Paula Kuta, but we will see more of Paula in upcoming competitions, no doubt. Valeria Ojeda makes her way in to the beach, and I use that term loosely because it's pretty craggy down there. We'll keep you updated. We're going to bring in Shannon and Barton on the call. More action to come from Repechage Round 1. We'll be right back.
El cariño deja una huella. Vela porque estemos bien. Celebra las nuevas etapas de la vida. El cariño nos mantiene en forma para que no nos perdamos ni un segundo de lo que nos llena de vida. Donde hay cariño, hay salud. Por eso llevamos 40 años cuidando cada etapa de tu vida. MCS, 40 años de salud completa.
Yeah, I have a reef for 20 years. My reef business card said Jefe, which is chief, and dreamer. La Jefe and dreamer, Spanish and English. That was a card I would give to the president of the bank or whatever. He always made people laugh. Because, you know, the guy like talking, when I asked them for an extra $1 million in loan to buy sandals, and the guy looks at this, I never lend money to somebody with this title, you know.
Welcome back to the action. Our final 2 heats of the day. Heat number 15 for women's repechage round 1 out in the lineup. Ecuador, Ukraine, Spain, and Latvia with Pacha Lukleit, Irina Corisa, Janire Gonzalez, and Katrina Kreutz out in the water. And no waves ridden yet, 20 minutes on the clock, well now down to 19 minutes. You can see how those conditions have changed. There's still some scoring potential available, as evidenced by that great layback of Valeria in the previous heat, Barton, where she got that 6-point ride, but it's definitely continuing to deteriorate. So the call has been made to go off after the finish of this repechage round for the women and the men's repechage round that's also wrapping up at El Pico in a couple of heats.
Yeah, so, you know, good move, good decision. Obviously that wind has come up considerably since this morning and added, but sometimes that onshore wind when the waves are smaller is a benefit because it gives you the opportunity to hit sections with speed.
Quick up and down for Katrina in the white jersey, and Janire on her backhand. Nice attack. Start off her campaign. Surprised to see one of the Spanish surfers in repechage round 1, Bart.
You did it again. I was thinking exactly the same thing.
We've been spending too much time together.
Yes, that's right.
That's the thing.
It's it is surprising to see her in this repechage round so early. You know, I suppose consistency when you're in the water, you could have a heat where there's not a lot of waves and you don't get your fair share, so to speak. That could have happened. But she is a real talent. We saw her in Rio, the juniors, and surfed fantastic there. So, expecting big things from her in the 4th priority right now. 3rd with Katrina, and Pacha and Irina have not had the opportunity to ride a wave yet.
Well, small score to drop for Katrina, waiting for a score now for Janiri. And while we do, let's go down to the beach to catch up with Rachel Tilley and the winner of that last heat.
I'm here with the winner of that last heat. Congratulations. You surfed amazing out there, dominance throughout that heat. My first question to you is second place and third place both needed really high scores basically throughout that entire heat in the excellent range in order to take your spot. What goes through your mind as you're just sitting in such dominance out there?
I just try to keep calm, and I know they need a big score, so they need quite a good wave. So I had priority most of the heat, often. So I try to keep priority, taking the good waves, and then knowing they needed a 7 on a scrappy wave, it's hard to do. And then on the end, I kind of made a mistake. I was with priority, and then the person in second actually got a good wave under my priority, so should have actually taken that wave, but she didn't make it, so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, there has been a lot of cheers down here on the beach, a lot of support all around you here. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I've got some family and friends from back home, and then also friends from other countries supporting me, which is amazing, because we're a small country, we don't have many team members, so it's amazing that they come down and see my heat and support me. Yeah,
I love that. We have Team Israel here with you too. Congratulations and good luck for that next heat.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
I just had to walk down to that kind of athletes and competitors area during our break, and it was the first time that we've had the chance to really see it kind of showcased between these two venues running together, and everyone is in there, and it's just the whole energy, the environment is all time. I love that a lot of those teams now are getting to spend that time together, where the last couple days things have been a little more separated, so they probably haven't had that time to just be able to hang out and support each other.
And we are one big global surfing family. When you're a surfer, you're a part of that. That becomes your nationality as such, while they're here representing themselves and then their nations. That really warmed my heart to see, from different nations coming together, supporting the smaller nations and helping them to enjoy the experience. But it was a great heat win, dominant as was said. Here goes Green up and riding.
So a 3.67 drops in for her first ride. Now up and riding on her second. And just technical textbook surfing there on her forehand. Putting down a backup score. Pacha now up and riding. Representing Ecuador for the first time at the World Surfing Games. Born in Ecuador, raised in Australia.
Yep.
Has spent time between the two and is now back residing in Ecuador and getting to know her home country once again.
Yeah, fantastic that she's reconnected.
Yeah, it's Australia was kind of her grassroots of surfing. She is one of those names that we were really familiar with within the Australian and Oceania region qualifying series events and trying to make those kind of teams for a long time. Mm-hmm. But now deciding to represent the home country of Ecuador, I think, like you said, it's a great opportunity to reconnect with her home country. It's also a great opportunity for her with her new efforts more on the environmentalist side and the activist side to continue pouring into protecting our Earth.
Yeah, she's one of those young ladies who recognises that she may be able to make a difference and has a voice and has used it for the positive. It's a fantastic thing to see young people, empowered like that and taking the opportunities that exist for them. While social media, has its ups and its downs, without social media, these young people wouldn't have a platform like that. So it's an amazing opportunity with social media. When I was a kid, you had to know someone or be friends with someone who worked at a magazine and somehow weasel your way into that, know a photographer, whatever it is. But now with social media, you are your own editor, you are in control, you have the opportunity to create a platform. She has done that. She's a powerful young lady.
13 minutes on the clock, now up and riding. Pacha on her backhand. A 2.83 was that opening ride. Throws it right up into the lip.
Steep bowly section. While it's still small, it's small out there, it's still on a reef, and it's still, it comes out of deep water and just lurches up and can catch you off guard.
Great camera angle for that as well, to be able to just see the shape of that wave and really be able to see how much it was kind of sucking out, that lip was throwing over.
It was a clean face. As it sucks out, it takes all that bump out of the wave face and cleans the wave face.
Janira's dropped in a 5.83 for her last wave. Sets her up in a decent position to be taking away that, potential leading position. Patcha Luklite sitting in second, and we're waiting for the other two surfers in the water to really find some rhythm. Shannon Hughes here alongside the 88 world champion Barton Lynch. And Barton, we've had lots of great action here for the women's repechage round 1 happening at Rostrial, our main podium for the broadcast today. There's also been a lot happening in the men's field for their opening repechage round as well at El Pico.
Yeah, right next door at El Pico, 50 metres between the two breaks most probably, and so the spectators are getting to watch everything. But here's the action from just next door.
Keone Lassa scored an 8.17 on this wave. We're just getting to see it for the first time as well, and wow, how sharp.
How great's that board? Look, the speed and the flow. Look at the way it's sitting up on the water in those little waves. Incredible surfing all the way through to the inside, and rightly so. Oh, and here's a 7.17, and we can see why he got that score as well on this one.
Great surfing. Incredible to find two high-scoring waves like that in a little bit more tricky conditions this morning. Not the cleanest, but still plenty of opportunity for surfers like Connor O'Leary to make any surf look absolutely insane.
Well, again, hard to believe that both of those surfers, Keone and Connor, are in that repechage round so early. I'm sure Connor wouldn't expect to be there.
Wheeler Hasbro for Canada as well. These are some big names that fell out in that opening round of competition, which also shows the strength of every single heat you're heading into in that opening round.
100%. And if you're a little off your game, you can find yourself in the repechage round. You find yourself there, then it's sudden elimination.
Well, back to Rostrial for podium 3, which is where the women are running today. And they've had some great scoring potential as well. Each of these surfers at this stage has almost surfed every venue.
Yes.
Depending on where they've kind of fallen through and making that first heat or falling out in the second heat, out of the 3 available. Janire up and riding on her forehand now. Snap to start, and she'll just not be able to connect with the rest of that wave.
The last wave, the 5.83, it was one that beautiful forehand re-entry, drifted the tail, and it made you understand why we were surprised that she was in this round, because such a dynamic young surfer, so fast on her feet, incredibly versatile across all sorts of conditions.
Taking a look at the replay here for that last wave.
It was a great turn. Here we go, pumping the replay of it. Whack! That was see all the ribs in the face. That was not easy to do. It was a difficult little section. Here's the last one. Nice snap there as well. Goes a little flat on the face. 10 o'clock high tide. So we're seeing, quite, although it's a small movement in the tide, it is at its, top this morning. So it's going to kind of fill things up a little bit. And that's why we see a little bit of flatness on the face.
That's right. And it is looking a little swampy on the inside. You can see the water, all the way up against that kind of break wall as well, just splashing off of it, creating a little bit more bump on the inside, especially with that break wall, that sort of backwash come off of it again on the high tide.
Yeah, that reverberation, I suppose, as it washes up, it washes back out, and then that energy carries back out against the energy of the ocean coming in, until that energy of the ocean coming in dissolves the energy of the backwash. So can be used for fun. You see it coming, you can use it as a little ramp and hop off it. Patcha
on her backhand, nice opening section. And she'll just have that one opportunity, looking to improve on a 2.83 as her high score. Janire, she has been so active within this heat. Every wave that comes her way, she's having a look at. Under priority, snakes this 2-turn combo.
And it was a good one. It may be the best scoring ride of the heat. Well, I feel like it's definitely going to be the second best scoring ride of the heat and advance her position. She currently has the 2 best scores, but that 3.67 may be replaced by those 2 backhand re-entries pretty soon.
8 minutes remaining on the clock with scores to drop for both Patcha and Janire. The current situation is that Katrina will need a 2.54 for Latvia to go from 3rd into 2nd. And it's a 3.53 for Irina from Team Ukraine to move herself up into that advancing position. Top 2 surfers staying in the draw. Bottom 2 surfers knocked out of competition today, as it's elimination all around. And we're getting to see some of those surfers from countries that we've become more familiar with in the last few years of the ISAs. We've seen Ukraine in the conversation for a few years now, which has been really great to see that team change and grow and different surfers represented, and for us to be introduced to the Ukrainian surfing community.
Yeah.
There's quite a few surfers have come to represent them over the last few years at the World Surfing Games. And then we've got an opportunity here on the inside for Irina out of Ukraine up into that white water, and she'll get another score on the board.
Yeah, who would have thought? I've been watching surfing for, right on 50 years, since I was a 10-year-old little kid, as we see surfers for the next heat. Czech surfing, getting ready to send out their surfer.
Clara from Czech Republic with the cheer behind as Alexandra from Greece walks by in front.
I would never have thought in my wildest dreams in the 50 years I've been watching that Latvia would have surfers in a team, even the Czech Republic, the Ukraine. Surfing really, the popularity of surfing has just, it's like a wildfire, just taking the world. Is it 115 nations, 116 nations, something like that? Member federations of the ISA, creating the opportunity to be recognised by the Olympics through that broad spectrum of nations that are involved now in surfing.
6 minutes remaining on the clock, and we have been able to kind of be introduced to that entire, that full family of surfers from around the globe. We've had new member nations continuing to join each year.
Yeah, every year, isn't there? There's a few new nations.
As we take a look now at Janire on her forehand. Solid opening turn, finds the backup maneuver as well, just starting to find more and more rhythm out in the lineup. She improved her scoreline with a 6.43.
Was the best wave of the heat so far. Fantastic scores. And that one's going to be a good score as well. Looks like she's sitting in and under the other guys a little bit, and that's creating the opportunities for those waves to be a little steeper. You're on a little bit shallow water, so great wave selection, great positioning, showing her experience in competition.
Priority sitting with our surfer in white, Katrina, as we take a look at the replay here.
We know the 583 was one turn. There were two of consequence, while the one was great. Let's have a look. Right, beautiful first turn. Second turn better. And maybe the score's even better than the 583, and she just continues to, stretch her lead and put the pressure on her opponents.
So scores still to come through for the last wave of green. Last of red did improve the situation, previous wave of red improved the situation with a 3.6. So that has made the requirement into the 5s and 6 point range for our 3rd and 4th place surfers. Katrina, sitting out in the lineup in the white jersey, surfer from Latvia. Her favorite surf break is chickens in the Maldives.
Oh,
really fun left-hander.
I like chickens too.
Great for those goofy footers.
Yep.
She said her longtime dream of having the time to surf, so she'd been surfing for a while, but her dream of actually being able to surf consistently came true 3 years ago while living in Kuwait. Her previous employer, she now owns her own business, but the company she was working for before agreed to letting her move into half-time remote work after listening to her talk about surfing so much that they finally were like, you actually just need to get out of here and just use your time to surf. As long as the job's getting done, it's okay.
I did that at school, same kind of process.
So eventually her employer gave her the opportunity to just start working remotely. She could start taking more surf trips. She wasn't living on the coast, still living in Kuwait, but was able to go, okay, if the surf's good, or plan out maybe 3-4 big trips a year. Gave her the opportunity to start practicing. As we see, Irina from Ukraine, that was a great looking wave, found that open face.
And positioned herself so perfectly for the takeoff, got that really nice little roll-in chip, gave her time to get up and get her moves going. That was her best ride for sure, and some great ocean skills there to position herself so well.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Looking to duck dive here. So a great bit of kind of advice or hope to those of you that are living around the world and you're in a situation where you're not surfing so much, but you'd like to, just start talking about it so much that your boss is like, you're going to be more productive if you're in the water more often.
Yeah, that's the way. And then you come back and you're happy, you're smiling, you get your work done quicker, you're in a good place. Yep.
And the internet is literally everywhere now. I mean, you can be out on a boat in the middle of the sea on a surf trip and still have Wi-Fi.
And still do your
there
work.
You go.
Tell your boss that.
You get on a call occasionally if you need to.
Absolutely. I've been living that way for a long time. the internet allows you that opportunity to be wherever you want to be and get the things that you need to get done. And it's a liberator, that's for sure, an educator, and the opportunity for information to be disseminated to people all around the world.
Down to 2 minutes remaining. The Latvian flag there, the red and the white stripes as we take a look at Janire. Improves the situation again. So It was that 6.43, then she dropped to 6.87 to put even more pressure on Pacha Luke.
There was the 3.67 and then the 5.83, and we talk about every wave you ride wanting it to be better than what you've already ridden, because if you ride a wave that's not as good as what you've already ridden, you use your priority, you lose your turn, and you waste time. So the opportunity to keep improving is it. She then got, after the 5.83, got a 3.07, so there was one little hiccup, then went 6.43 and 6.87. So far it's been a very professionally surfed heat, and she's only a young lady, still a junior, with a big future.
Little positioning happening here for a surfer in white. You can see this wave starting to form. She has a deep dig into it and she just can't get a piece of it. Pacha's done a great job to stay in that controlling second place position within this heat. She's also sitting with first priority right now, so she looks like she's going to use that to try and better her situation. Pumping down the line, tags the section, and might have one more opportunity. She's going to stick with it as long as she can, and she'll kick out. So the environmental activist, whose very first surfboard came as a gift from Laura Enever, one of the, most incredible shortboarders but big wave surfers now in the world, got Pacha in the light onto some great equipment at a young age, and it's taken Pacha to some great opportunities traveling around the world. Her and her friend Lucy Small, who competes for Team Australia on the longboard side, they have just completed a trip in Ecuador on a filming project, so they've been working on some things behind the scenes with both of them functioning in the activist and surfer space. So some great footage come out of Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands where they found some great waves. So be sure to pay attention to Pacha's social media if you want to find out more about that project happening behind the scenes. And we're coming down to just one more heat remaining in the day. So official results, Janire Gonzalez will be advancing through with the win for Team Spain. Pacha Luke Light in second for Ecuador. And unfortunately out, Katrina from Latvia and Irina from Ukraine. We're going to see more of them around the contest site this week, though, and that's going to be an awesome thing. We've got one final heat remaining for the day. Then we'll be taking a break from the rain and the wind. Stay tuned for more after this.
vez que te probé, ese sabor nunca lo olvidé. Quiero mi pancho, te amo pancho, desde la primera vez que te probé, ese sabor nunca lo olvidé. Quiero mi pancho,
Campo Pancho, solo $4.99.
te amo pancho, te amo pancho.
Welcome back to the action. Janire was absolutely on fire in that heat, Barton. She just went from strength to strength, felt loose and controlled, and she could be one of those surfers that really finds a rhythm in these repecharge rounds.
Yes, that is the opportunity that exists. Once you're down there, it's, you don't want to be there, but once you're down there, you can start to build momentum, you get your reps, and, in theory, your heats down there are not supposed to be as difficult as the heats in the main round, you would imagine,
Right.
because but then we saw on the men's side, Keone Larser and Connor O'Leary, World Championship Tour surfer, already in that repechage round, so it doesn't necessarily always work out like that. And here's Heat 16, repechage round 1.
Czech Republic, Uruguay, and Greece with Clara Marcella and Alexandra. In the water, top two will be advancing through. Bottom surfer knocked out of competition. And as you were saying, you know, a lot of these repecharge rounds may seem like they're a little bit easier, but then you end up with a surfer like Katie Simmers in the draw, who took a loss in her opening round due to a foot full of sea urchins. And surfers had to go up against that kind of quality in their repecharge, their repecharge round one sort of heat.
Yeah.
So anything can happen at the ISAs. As Fernando was explaining to us yesterday with his time spent in the booth, it's an even playing field across the board. No surfer is seeded into any higher rounds, you know, getting kind of those buys from the opening rounds. Everybody starts with round one and has to make their way all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Also, everybody gets a second chance because of those repecharge rounds, which we're currently battling in. So this is the second chance for each of the surfers in the water right now.
Great format. I love the 3 or 4 person heats, 4 person normally. I love the action. I love how you know, when it's 2 people, best 2 rides in 30 minutes, you don't see a lot of surfing. But in this format, you see a lot of surfing, a lot of action. Great to call and great to view.
Very engaging as we take a look at Clara for the Czech Republic. On her forehand, set herself up down the line on that wave. She's going to have a score to drop for that opening exchange. Priority sitting with Alexandra representing Greece in the white jersey. Putting herself in a position now. Up and riding, pumping down the line. And just carving back into the section for that opening turn. We've already got a 1.30 on the board for Marcela Machado out of Uruguay. And so far, this heat is very tight, very evenly matched.
Only 4 minutes down, so everybody getting active early. That's great to see. A lot of opportunities out there. But picking the best ones, you know, that's the key to advancement. You imagine that, you know, the wave in a sense is the canvas, and if you've got a ratty old piece of canvas, it's not such a good platform for you to surf on, then that's going to make things difficult. If you're on a beautiful wave, you actually have to do less. The wave makes you look good. You can position yourself nicely and take advantage of the quality of the wave you're on. So wave selection in competition is always one of the most important elements.
We've seen that in every heat so far. Some of those great waves rolling through. And with 15 minutes on the clock, we've got Rachel Tilley ready to go with the winner of that last heat.
I'm here with Gianni, winner of that last heat. Now, you're a name that it was a little bit of a surprise to see in the repecharge round so early. Can you talk me through what went down in your first heat and, you know, how you recovered and came through into this heat so strong?
Yes, well, yesterday's heat was a little bit like shocker. Like I wasn't expecting that. Anyone was expecting that, but I came from my injury, so I think I need more confidence, and I think it's gonna be good for me to make all the round of repechage to get that confidence that I need to show my surfing.
Yeah, well, you showed that confidence out there. Now, that was the definition of building a house. Every single wave improved upon the one before. With about 5 minutes to go, you got that 6.87, the best single wave score of the heat. Talk me through that. Talk me through what your strategy was through that heat.
I just wanted to surf, to show my surfing and just improve all the waves, and I think I made it. So I'm happy, and I can't wait for the next one.
And your equipment looked amazing under your feet. Can you tell me what you're on right now?
Today I'm riding a Cabianca 5.3. It's my board for small waves, so I think it worked good, and yeah, let's see.
Well, I look forward to seeing you move forward, and good luck for the next heats.
Thank you so much. Eskerrik asko etxeko dana eta bueno, aurrea.
Back to you guys.
Thanks so much. Great to hear from Janire. And
Eskerrik asko. Thank you in Basque.
What a beautiful part of the world.
Oh, it's a great part of the world. It's been so long since I was there, but incredible waves, beautiful countryside, amazing food, and spirited people. Look at this left.
Here we go, standing up. One of the bigger sets that we've seen through the last couple of heats. Marcella making it look easy, smooth surfing.
Oh, so calm and smooth and controlled.
Clara from the Czech Republic now up and riding. Finding that first opening maneuver. And she'll be putting a better score to what she currently has on the board, chasing down a 1.91 to put herself in the advancing position, the 27-year-old from Pilsen. Now, she is 27. She has been involved in sports for her whole life, focused mainly on track and field, and she ended up in a professional running career. Has taken to surfing a little bit later in life. First fell in love with it, traveling in Sri Lanka, as we can see the Ukrainian team there just supporting their surfers, their team together, as we've seen another one of their surfers bow out of competition with that camaraderie alive and well.
Win, lose or draw, you know, just being here, you're in Puerto Rico. We look at the camaraderie and that team component to this event is just a wonderful thing. And then the fact that surfers from other countries are supporting you as well, and everyone's here supporting each other and supporting the sport of surfing. That's what makes it special, and the results, you know, there's all different levels of surfers, countries and nations and individuals at different levels of their development and their careers, and everyone just comes together with the stoke of surfing and spreads it worldwide.
It's amazing how, like, you know, we've been talking about that stoke or that bug that kind of catches you and what it ends up doing to you. Yeah. For Clara to go from being a professional runner, competing as, you know, an adult with a career with that, taking on surfing, first time in Sri Lanka. Now she lives in Peniche in Portugal, and she works as a surf instructor. And she's in a fully different phase of life to what she probably ever would have expected. And it's taken her now to representing your country here for the World Surfing Games, and has her enjoying the water. I'm sure she still is on the pavement running day after day. One of those top athletes. We got a lot of surfers in the draw this week. And maybe, I mean, you can speak more to that probably, Barton, of what you've seen of the changes of surfers and the mindset and their preparation behind the scenes for being competitors, but top athletes who could be competing across so many different sports that have chosen to hone in on surfing, similar to a Sally Fitzgibbon's story as a runner who's decided to take on surfing for that challenge of the ocean and, you know, the never-ending search for the perfect wave. As we see Alexandra from Greece on that last wave. Now Marcella, she's dropped a couple threes so far. I think given good wave selection, she's going to be into that 5 and 6 point range before we know it.
And with those two backhand turns, I think that's the case for sure. She gets really low, beautiful style, technique, and you mentioned on her very first wave, there is a poise and an elegance to the way she surfs that just puts you in a nice place when you're watching it. Sometimes people are super energetic and, you know, thinking Italo Ferreira, or someone's just got that energy bubbling out of them. And Marcella has a much more composed approach, but at the same time able to get those radical manoeuvres in. I think that's going to be her best score of the heat so far.
Scores to drop, just waiting for it from the judging panel. I always feel so thankful showing up to a contest and getting in the rhythm, a few days into an event, getting to commentate, getting to just hang out and chat to the surfers and, you know, hear more of their stories or catch up with them because we haven't seen them in a while. And I get so thankful every time that I am not on the judging panel.
Yeah.
Because that is the toughest job.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for the crew that sits up there. In this event, there's a massive panel of judges. Judges that have been, you know, doing this on an elite level for so many years. We've got literally like the, you know, the head judges of so many different events and organizations around the world in the panel this week.
Yes.
Heading in preparation towards the Olympics. We've also got an incredible judging program that's running for 8 women through the ISA this week. We'll track with some live action, though, because Marcella's up and riding on her forehand. And a 5.5 was her last score. Now she's really linking into it. She's got that combination surfing dialed.
If that last one was a 5.5, which I completely agree with, definitely the best wave, that's a 7. That might be even more. It could be a 7.5. There's a couple of points on that. There was open face and speed involved in what she did. Here's Clara.
Great drive out of that opening takeoff. Board's looking really steady under her feet. It's got a little bit more girth to it for some easier paddling as well.
And you watch with the duck dive, that makes that little part of it a bit more difficult when you've got a board with more volume and width and thickness in it, but she handled that really well. And it does just gives you a more stable platform to do your performance on when the board's a little bit bigger. Yeah, so I feel like that last score, I can't wait to see where the judges go for Uruguay. It's going to be a big score. It was a beautifully surfed wave. At the moment, Clara looking for the 273. I'm not sure she'll get that on that last wave. 137 comes through, so she maintains that position in third place, looking for the 273. Needs a little more open face, a little more length of ride.
A 137 for Clara, another score to drop. We got a 5.5 on the board for Marcella. As her high score, we've got that next one to come through as well. A 2.2 is dropped in for Alexandra. She's currently chasing a 6.63, but I feel like that is about to change.
Yeah, I reckon you're right.
With that right, the last right for Marcella. The end section looked really fun to be able to hit. And for Alexandra, she's 42 years old, representing Greece, but actually born and raised in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay.
And she loves chasing bigger boards on bigger waves. She finds it pretty fun and relaxing to be able to just cruise down the line rather than having to, you know, kind of force in any major maneuvers. So she feels more comfortable and steady in waves like that. As we take a look at this last wave of Marcella.
Nice first vertical turn, beautiful snap out of the top. She has got all of the makings of a championship tour surfer. You can see it. There's just a lovely feeling about the way she rides a wave. There's no panic, there's no rushing, there's just a presence in the moment, in the turn that she's doing that really it captures my attention, and I can see big things ahead. Or big scores ahead too. Judges still considering that one we just watched on the replay.
Yeah, having one more look at it. Now, Alexandra, as I was saying, you know, likes riding bigger boards and bigger waves. Waves like Mavericks, she paddles out at. I surfed it a few times.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's so scary.
That's the top end, isn't it? You know, cold water, massive waves, great whites. What else do you need to be scared of?
I mean, the red triangle, she's just sitting right in it in that zone of the world. As we take a look at her now, up and riding, steep takeoff. This would feel like nothing compared to a wipeout at Mavericks.
And that was a great takeoff. White
Wave
water
just-
all around her.
Yeah. Wave just shut down in front of her, unfortunately. Now, when she's not surfing, she does have a full-time job as a professor at the University of California in Santa Cruz. She's a mathematician and a teacher or a researcher that focuses on theoretical computer science and quantum computing. I don't know what that means, but
What's she doing hanging with us?
what's she doing here?
Oh, look at
it's
this.
incredible. Representing Greece, but Czech Republic up and riding, flying down the line, found that open face.
It's exactly the sort of wave she was looking for.
Now she's looking for a 2.93. Barton, talk to us about the judging criteria when it comes to those great clean sections going fast down the line in comparison to a change of direction.
Yeah, have a look. Let's see. Nice bottom turn there. The wave face is in front of her. Would have been good if she could have got up a little higher on that wave face and made more of that moment of where the wave stood up. But still, it was, you know, the rhythm and flow with the wave was perfect. Timing was good. Got the completion. A 6.33 for the last of Marcella. So
There
that
it is.
was the best score of the heat, and the judges doing a great job. Clara's. Oh, here we go again.
Marcella, like you said, her presence on the wave just really composed. Nice opening turn.
So back to the maneuvers, and so the more aggressive the rail turns are, the more you lay the rail over on its side and drive the rail through the water, the tighter you are to the pocket. All of these little elements, you know, combine to make the performance. The first thing though is you want to be in rhythm with the wave. There's no use forcing or imposing your desires on a wave that doesn't match what you're thinking. And really you need to get up and see what the wave wants you to do and work with it and put yourself in the right place at the right time with the wave. And that's when the perfect performance happens. That performance for Clara, with her level of ability and where she's at, was perfect. The way she rode it, smooth and controlled, positioned really nicely. So it's really just a matter of starting to work on the angles in those turns, putting a little more pressure on the back foot and the fins of the board to find yourself in more sort of vertical, tighter parts of the wave.
Great breakdown from one of the world's best in Barton Lynch. Calling the final heat of the day here for World Surfing Games Day 3. The event organizers and the contest director have decided to call the event off for the rest of the day just due to these deteriorating conditions, and knowing that now with how much we were able to kind of get through in our opening 2 days of competition, which we had really great waves for.
Yes.
We've now got some room to kind of play with the rest of the week, the rest of the forecast before we get to finals day. We're not feeling very rushed at this stage of competition, which is awesome. We've got some better waves starting to come through the next, couple of days towards the weekend. So we'll take advantage of this little bit of swell that we had this morning, but we'll be returning at 8 a.m. tomorrow for a slightly later contest start. And
our final day is next Saturday. It's Monday today. And what the crowds and the energy and the excitement we saw this weekend, you imagine finals day next Saturday is going to be a madhouse. It's going to be incredible. The energy is going to be amazing, and then we'll be crowning our champions. We'll be deciding. We'll know by then. We'll most probably know a few Olympians, and by that final day we'll know all of those 14 qualified male and female surfers for the Olympics. It's going to be, the back end's just going to be fantastic. There'll be a lot to celebrate.
Yeah, it's going to really continue to ramp up through the week, and each one of these heats that we get through, as sad as it is to see surfers bowing out of competition, it builds that anticipation and that excitement for knowing as we get towards finals day, those Olympians are going to be decided.
And while no one wants to be eliminated and out of the event, I heard Chris Cote say earlier, what's the worst thing that happens? You're on holidays in Puerto Rico.
Bummer. What a bummer.
So it's a win-win all round, really.
Clara had a look at that wave on the inside under priority, just, kind of keeping herself away from the pack. Marcella, similar to that previous heat with our heat leader, just kind of finding some rhythm, freed up, looking really great. Boards looking nice under her feet as well.
Minute 15 about on the clock, and I'm seeing a lot of greatness in the future of this young lady. I really have been impressed by the way she surfs and the style she has, the composure she competes with. Everything long term looks like she's on track for some really big things. For Uruguay too.
Very exciting for that nation. They've got a great team represented here for the World Surfing Games. We're down to 45 seconds on the clock.
You ever been there?
I have never been there.
No, there's another one. Let's put that on the list too.
They've got a great longboarding QS that just ran this weekend. There's some fantastic longboarders out of that region of the world, and the waves look so fun. I would love, love, love to go on a surf trip there one day.
Absolutely.
Marcella just duck diving here, sitting comfortably up in the lead. The requirements on the rest of the field to take the win from her, at least a 9-point ride, a 9.63 on Alexandra. But Alexandra, our surfer representing Greece, the Mavericks Charger from Santa Cruz, California, is sitting in that second place position, and she's done a very good job of controlling that. She's also sitting with that priority, and rather than kind of sitting on top of Clara in third, she's just hunting the lineup. You can see her this whole last few minutes trying to find one more opportunity to better that scoreline.
Yeah, you've always got that decision whether you focus on your opponent or you focus on yourself and your surfing and your performance. And there the ladies are. I think they're celebrating each other and the opportunity to be here together and surf in this repechaje.
Well, Marcela Machado taking away a huge victory for Uruguay, advancing through in this final repechage heat of the day, Barton.
Yep, it's the event. I suppose it shows the privileged position we sit in, that we can call this off for now and have the rest of the day so that the surfers themselves can take advantage of the beautiful environment we're in and perhaps go for a drive, see something else, take yourself away from the competitive pressures of the event, enjoy Puerto Rico, and be back tomorrow morning ready to go again.
Well, it certainly is one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's great to spend some time here, and these surfers are going to enjoy it. Let's take a look at the highlights from what we saw today, and then we're going to come back to get an interview with this woman, Marcela Machado, before we call it for the day. microphone. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's been a huge day of competition here for day 3 of the World Surfing Games. Short, but with a lot of consequence. So huge in the manner of everything that we got to see and all of the storylines continuing to unfold.
I'm going to turn mine on too. Double combo plate of mistakes.
Here we go.
Right
This
there.
is the real world of commentary.
Those last couple of days were massive days. Today, a shorter day, but the performances were great. We see what the young ladies were able to do in that highlight package with some average conditions. Decided to call it off for the rest of the day. So that's a great position that we're in. We'll be back tomorrow morning ready to go. And so far, so good. We're on track for an amazing event. 60th anniversary for the ISA. Congratulations to them. And congratulations to all our advancement surfers of today.
That's right. Well, a huge congratulations to Marcela Machado of Uruguay. Just took out the win, and she's on the beach with Rachel.
I'm down here with Marcela from Uruguay, the winner of that last heat. Congratulations. Now, the conditions have changed a lot throughout this morning. The wind has now really just picked up. How do you stay adaptable as the conditions change?
Yes, the conditions change a lot. Now it's so tricky and windy. And like I go in and try to get some waves in the 5 first minutes, because yesterday my hit was so like no waves. So and try to improve the score all time. Like I get a 3 and try to get a better score, and that was all.
Well, you played that perfectly. Congratulations. Is there anything you'd like to say back to your country, family, and friends?
Yes, I say in Spanish.
Yeah, no problem.
Bueno, un saludo a todos los que me apoyan, en especial a mi familia. Y bueno, vamos arriba Uruguay. Caí ayer en el hit, la verdad que me quedé con muchas ganas, pero bueno, vamos a seguir, que esto recién empieza, y animando al equipo ahí. Vamos arriba a todos.
Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Rage. Congratulations to Marcela for a solid win at the end of the day. A few surfers heading out in the lineup just to continue to get to know this break, which is a great opportunity now for some free surfs throughout the day. Martin, it's been a pleasure once again to call the action with you, and we're going to have more tomorrow morning. We got an 8 o'clock start. We're running both the men's and the women's repecharge round 2. We're just going to flip venues, so we'll have the men at Rastreal tomorrow and the women at El Pico.
Yes, and look forward to you guys tuning in with us. We're here in Puerto Rico making the world a better place through surfing with the ISA, and great working with you too, Shannon. Thanks to all the crew. It was a great day.
We'll see you all tomorrow. Tune in then.
Que mami yo te llevo, restaurante Michelin, estamos en otro level, porque ahora ando en yates y aviones, se nos dio ahora somos ganadores, hicimos a quemate, par de millones, en Aventador llegando a las mansiones, todo comenzó jugando, ponte ready que ya voy llegando, de una picaco, todo comenzó jugando.
In Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua, a unique name honoring our island heritage and the vibrant spirit of our people. When you bask in the warmth of our beaches, when you taste the love in our food, when you embrace the call of our adventures, you'll find that spirit in yourself. Dare to live every moment. Live Boricua.